Tonight, a widespread search for a 24-year-old Florida woman who seems to have vanished from the face of the earth. What happened to Jennifer Kesse? And does a new surveillance photograph hold the key to solving the mystery? Good evening, everybody. I'm Jane Velez-Mitchell, sitting in for Nancy Grace. Police need your help to find a beautiful 24-year-old Florida woman, Jennifer Kesse, missing 2 weeks. Investigators are desperately trying to find a person of interest who may have information on Jennifer Kesse's disappearance.
Someone knows something. We're still looking for Jennifer, all right? Not only this person now to help us out, but we're still looking for Jennifer. That's the main thing here.
What we do know is somebody probably knows the person involved or people involved in this case. They just haven't come forward.
Whoever has her, do the right thing as we've been saying all the time, and just let her go and be off.
The longer something goes on, it's certainly always going to be concerning to the family, and it's always going to be concerning to us. But, you know, we're going to always hope and keep our fingers crossed that we can move quickly with what information we get and try to find her.
Let's go straight out to Orlando, Florida, and WDBO radio reporter Mike Sinan, who is joining us on the phone right now. Mike, you have been covering this case from the start. What is the very latest?
Well, the very latest is that the case continues just to be exasperating for the media as they try to figure out what happened and try to give as much help as they can to the family. Basically, another day and another search of an area. This time, it's an abandoned timeshare complex, and they took dogs out there, cadaver dogs. The intent was to see if someone could have maybe hidden Jennifer's body in this abandoned area. Nothing was found, so again, we are without leads. And another search is being organized for this weekend. Last weekend, about 1,200 volunteers from all around Orlando and the West Coast as well came out to see if there was any way that they could help, looking in as many wooded areas as they could find, areas that the police thought it might be fruitful for them to search, areas that they had already cleared for potential evidence. And again, nothing is available. So now we concentrate on the surveillance video. There is surveillance video from outside the place where Jennifer's vehicle was found. But that image is obscured. There's an iron bar that keeps you from being able to see the face of this person in the video. The video has been released, and once again, the Orlando police and the Kesse family are calling for anyone who knows anything about this person to come forward and give us any kind of information as to where Jennifer might be. The video, you can't see the person's face because of the iron bars there. All you can tell is basically that it's a white male. So once again, there are very few clues to go on, and I'm sure it's very frustrating for investigators at this point.
Oh, it's gotta be, because there you have a photograph of somebody taken from a video, and yet it's tantalizing because you can't see the person's face. Let's go straight out to Rob Allen. He is the boyfriend of Jennifer Kesse. Rob, first of all, thank you for joining us for this exclusive interview. We know this is a very emotional time for you, a very difficult time, and we thank you for taking the time. We know you are a key piece of the puzzle because you were the last person to talk to Jennifer the night before she disappeared. Tell us all about that conversation, when it took place, what she said. Was there anything out of the ordinary?
Nothing out of the ordinary. I've known Jennifer for about the last 12 months, and we talk periodically throughout the day, every night before she goes to bed, every morning before when she wakes up. We'd recently just come back from a vacation, and we talked throughout the day on Monday, and then Monday evening she called me around about 10 o'clock. She was in bed. She was tired from the vacation that we'd just recently taken and a long day at work. We talked briefly, no problem at all. We both said we missed each other and we were looking forward to the next time we were going to spend with each other.
Let's listen to what a friend said about Jennifer Kesse.
Jennifer doesn't leave things open-ended like this at all. She would never just leave, or I don't know.
Now, Rob, I understand that she was in the habit of doing something very romantic, sending you a text message or a phone message the next day, the next morning to say, hey, I'm okay, I love you, that kind of thing. She didn't do that the next day. Tell us about that and why it sparked concerns to you.
Well, normally, like I'd said, Jennifer and I had got into the routine. Jennifer always woke up before me. She had to go to work up before I did, so she every day would either call me just to say good morning, have a great day, or just text me to wish me to, have a good day, love you, that type of thing. And when I didn't receive it Tuesday morning, I thought it was odd, but I was running a little late for work, so I called her on the way into work and just received her voicemail. I called her both. Go ahead, sorry.
And that, of course, sparked concerns in you or not at that moment?
Not. I thought it was odd, but I knew Jennifer had been away for a couple of days on vacation, so I knew she had a lot on her plate, and I knew she had a busy schedule. So I left a message with her, and then went ahead with my day. And then after my meeting, I had a meeting at 9 o'clock. After I had that meeting, I called her again, and once again I got a voicemail, which I thought was odd, and it was then that her parents called me to notify me that she hadn't shown up for work that day.
And Rob, her parents are here with us tonight. We'd like to introduce them and thank them for being on. Drew and Joyce Kesse, thank you so much for joining us. We know that this has to be an excruciatingly difficult time for you. We thank you for being here. Our hearts are with you, and we hope we can somehow help. She didn't show up the next day for work. What happened then? How were you alerted? When did you become worried?
We were alerted by her employer. Jennifer is very prompt and responsible, and if she was going to be 5 minutes late to work, she would have called her immediate supervisor to say, I'm going to be a few minutes late. As soon as she did not report to work, they checked her schedule. She was not supposed to be off property, and they began to start to call us to say if we were aware of where Jennifer was.
Joyce, tell us about your daughter. She's a beautiful, beautiful young woman. Tell us about her spirit, her character.
She's probably a million times more beautiful on the inside, always has been, has just been she's just a beautiful, caring, thoughtful, kind person. Has a lot going for her, has always been someone to reach for the stars, and for the most part, she's always grabbed hold of them. And this whole thing has just been one hellish nightmare.
I can certainly understand that. And for the moment, let's go to Karen Stark, psychotherapist. What are these parents going through? What is the hell that they are going through right now with this uncertainty?
Well, nothing could be worse than this because there's nothing definitive that's happening right now. It's not as though they have an outcome, so there's sort of no control. They're stuck there. Jane, I can't imagine anything worse for parents.
And they're showing such self-control, such grace at this time, but I can't even imagine. I cannot even comprehend what it must be like for them to wait and wonder, hoping for the police to get a break in this case. And let's go to the authorities now. We have Sergeant Barbara Jones. She is the spokeswoman for the Orlando Police Department. Barbara, thank you for joining us. We'd like to talk to you about this very latest development, this still picture taken off a video. Give us the timeline. Where is this video taken? How does that fit into the timeline of her missing and the discovery of the abandoned car?
Yeah, we established a timeline of Monday when she last talked to Rob, which was about 10 p.m., to Thursday at around 8:06 when a resident of that condominium complex located her car. So that's about a 58-hour window. We did obtain some video surveillance at the condominiums where her vehicle was found. And that surveillance video depicted a picture of a pedestrian, which we're classifying as a person of interest. That video was taken on Wednesday, the 24th, at around 12 noon. So Monday at 10 p.m. till the following day at 12 noon is the time frame where we have that pedestrian who is a person of interest in this case that we're desperately trying to find out who that is. To see what they know about possibly the whereabouts of Jennifer Kesse.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that she lived in one apartment complex, one condo complex. Her car was found abandoned about a mile away, which is near another condo complex. Have you talked to all the people who live in both of those condo complexes to find out if anybody knows anything?
Absolutely. The day that we located her car, we did a door-to-door knock and talk. We also did a track with some bloodhounds from her car, which led back condominium where she lived, which was about a mile away. We did a door-to-door knock where she lived. We also went back on a Saturday to try to make contact with people who may not have been there during the weekday hours to see if we could catch them maybe on a weekend when they were home. So we did numerous times go back to both complexes to see if we could generate any information as it related to
that
her
seems
whereabouts.
extremely significant that you had some bloodhounds that traced the scent of the abandoned car straight back to her condo. What's the significance of that? Do you know at all?
Sure. It's hard to theorize what it is because I'm not an expert in bloodhound tracking. It was a scent that was picked up from the car that went back to her condominium. What we did with that is we created a 3 to 5 mile radius around that track, and we've done numerous grid searches in wooded, isolated areas where if somebody was trying to hide something related to this case, we would be able to find it in those particular areas.
Former prosecutor Wendy Murphy, what do you make of all this, that the car is found abandoned about a mile away from where this young woman lives, and then the scent goes back to the condo?
Yeah, Jane, you know, I just can't even think of another case remotely like this one in terms of the curiosities. And as I was listening, I was struck by the fact that she was in bed on a Monday night, according to Rob, her boyfriend, in bed at 10 p.m. saying good night. So presumably she was safe in bed on Monday night, and she didn't call him the next morning, which is something, according to him, she did on a regular basis, apparently before she even left her condo. So what I want to know is who was living around her that might have done something literally overnight to her, because that trace back now with the bloodhound, the trace back from the abandonment of the car to the condo suggests the possibility that the person was there because they might have had access to her again and during that overnight period, and then going back again for whatever reason thereafter. But I'm told, and correct me if I'm wrong, there was no evidence of break-in, so this had to be someone who perhaps knew she was there and for some reason had access.
Right, and I want to go back to the parents, Drew and Joyce. What can you tell us about the condition of her condo complex? Was anything amiss?
No, as a matter of fact, while we were driving over to Orlando from Bradenton, we had called the condominium complex and asked if they could send some management to check out her condo. 2 managers did go over, and her unit was locked. And when we arrived, there was nothing amiss. You know, typical Jen, if you must know. You know, hurriedly leaving for work, makeup out on the counter, hair dryer, you know, what she wore to bed the night before on the bathroom floor, bed not made, a couple of outfits strewn on her bed. But that's typical for Jen.
And apparently,
so really there was nothing.
Her purse was missing and her cell phone was missing. Is that correct?
Yes, and her iPod.
She is a strong, intelligent woman, and she knows how to do what she has to do at this time. We know that. And she knows that we are still with her. I talk to her all day long in my heart. We know she's out there, and she does have a brain, and she can think very quickly on her feet on what she needs to do and what she does not need to do.
I'm Jane Velez-Mitchell, sitting in tonight for Nancy Grace. What happened to Jennifer Kesse? 5'8", 135 pounds, green eyes. This beautiful 24-year-old did not show up for her job the Tuesday before last as a financial analyst in the Orlando, Florida area. Now a massive manhunt is on as her anxious parents wait and worry. They are here with us tonight. Drew, I understand that you've set up a website to encourage tips. I want to ask you, though, more than anything else, what do you think? What's your theory? When did things start to go awry? Was it the next morning when she was in the car driving to work, do you think?
Well, my personal gut feeling is she got ready to go to work as normal, and as soon as that condominium door closed, I don't know what happened from that point. That's where I think it started to happen, whatever it was. I'm not sure whether she got in that car herself or not.
Pat Brown, criminal profiler, your job is to take all these elements and try to make sense of them. What kind of theory are you coming up with right now?
Well, Jane, I think that Jennifer's father is correct. I think what happened was she left that condominium, was getting into her car, and that's where she was abducted. Because if somebody had their own vehicle, they would grab her and pull her into their vehicle, because it's much easier to work a crime scene when the police don't know where the crime scene is. But when you use somebody else's vehicle and that vehicle's found, that's going to be a crime scene. So my guess is this guy lived in the condominium or was working in the condominium. That's why he took her car, took it someplace, did something, and then dropped it off and went back where he had to go, which because he either works or he lives there. So I think the police do have a focus. They can go right to that condominium, ask everybody, who do they know? What psychopathic creature is running around that condominium that people know, living there, working there, that might have abducted Jennifer when she came out of that condominium and went to her car.
And let's go to Jennifer's boyfriend, Rob Allen. We had heard some reports, and maybe you can confirm them or deny them, that she had been a little nervous living in that condo complex. She said there were construction workers, or there was something that was kind of freaking her out a little bit. Can you tell us about that?
I don't think anything in particular. I think Jennifer, being a young 24-year-old female, any young female living alone probably has a sense of uneasiness. I know she was having some work done on her condominium and just getting ready to complete. I think that had just recently been completed. I don't think there was anything out of the ordinary. I think like anyone that lives on their own, there's always a sense of uneasiness.
All right, very briefly to Sergeant Jones, have you spoken to the people who did the work on her condo?
I'm quite sure they have. I'm quite sure they've talked to anybody, whether it's personal friends, people that she works with, or anybody that may have had a contact with her. And I'm sure if there's any of those people that they're interested in, they're going to certainly continue to look at them. And I'm quite sure there's people that they have eliminated as people being of persons of interest. So they've been working very hard, numerous detectives, and we're going to always keep our hope that we're going to find her.
Oh, absolutely. We all pray and hope that Jennifer Kesse is found safe and sound.
I can tell you that she knows that she just has to hang in, and people are coming for her. Her father and mother and family are coming for her.
I'm Jane Velez-Mitchell, sitting in tonight for Nancy Grace. What happened to Jennifer Kesse? She's been missing for 2 weeks now. Hundreds, even at one point more than 1,000 people searching for her. Let's go straight out to her parents. They are standing by. They have witnessed these searches. What are they accomplishing? What areas are they searching? And how does that bolster you emotionally to have hundreds of people on your side?
Jane, it's unbelievable, touching our heart. The community, this Orlando community is absolutely fantastic. They should be very proud of themselves. We still need people to call into the tip line, the littlest thing, 1-800-423-TIPS. $115,000 reward. Visit her website, jenniferkesse.com. But we need people to help us again this week and continually look for Jennifer. And our hearts go out to the Orlando community. We thank you, but we still need your help. Someone knows something, please call.
Karen Stark, psychotherapist, you're hearing the parents. They have taken action. They've set up a website. They're actively involved. How does that help them cope psychologically?
I can't think of a better thing for them to do, Jane. In a situation where they have absolutely no control, they are taking the best control that they can. They're doing the website. They're keeping busy. It's so important for them to keep busy and to believe that it's something that will help them find their daughter.
And also
so
for all these people, right, who are vicariously experiencing the horror of what these parents are going through, for them to take action and go look for her and march. More than 1,000 people at one point were marching for her. That also helps, looking through the woods, looking at canals, that kind of thing.
Well, because we can all relate to it and we all feel like we want to do something, and these people can do something. And I must applaud the parents. It's wonderful they have the website.